that we're having. There we go. There we go. Throw on the beanie. My guy's got the rolly on the wrist. Come on now. Me and my guy
Yes.
Johnny Brock every single Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Today we're a little bit off due to some difficulties, but we are here bringing you guys some content, some value. So today, man, Johnny, I wanted to just drop right into it, talk a little bit about the 1099 culture versus like a W-2 culture, because obviously with Bobby Brock Insurance, that's where you're working, that's where you're growing out that your team, helping your brother grow that culture out. Like you guys are primarily W-2. I mean, do you guys even like hire 1099 individuals, or is it basically just W-2? Like what's the reasoning behind this? I know the reasoning, but want to see what your thoughts are on that.
So I was actually talking to somebody about this earlier. 1099 versus LOA. So it's basically just a general agent versus an LOA agent. So general agent is going to be somebody that's paid by the carriers. Basically, if you're GA agent 1099, you're going to have a lot of responsibility that some people don't want, right? Not everybody wants to build a 9-figure agency, right? So we're trying to find people that are trying to have a really good career. And, we're building our business around people that are looking for career opportunities. They're not trying to be worth $50 million. Not everybody wants that. I mentioned that last week. But the LOA model that we have built is basically LOA is licensed only agent. You're a licensed agent, but you don't get paid by the carriers. The carriers pay the agency that you're working for, and then that agency pays you an agreed upon amount, right? So typically our LOAs are getting an 80-20 split. And a lot of people were like, oh man, you should never go LOA. But, these are people, a lot of these people are working at Buffalo Wild Wings, or they're teachers, or they work in a factory, or they worked at, we got one of our best agents is Jackson Taylor. He's working at Hibbett Sports. What are they making? $25,000, $30,000 a year. And they're doing an 80-20 split. And people say, well, that's terrible. It's terrible, but it's not terrible. You're taking into account, if they wrote all the business that they are going to write with us, if they wrote all that business on street level, yeah, they'd be making 4 times, 5 times as much, but they wouldn't write that much. As a matter of fact, some would say that most of them would be out of the business within 92% of them would be out of the business within 2 years. But when we bring people in, those people learn how to sell. We give them a quota to hit, and the quota is not even that hard. It's really, really easy. And we actually start out on a per app fee. So once they get to a certain level, if they want to go to the 80-20, they can go to 80-20. But most of these people that are LOA, we're bringing them in and they're a part of a really great culture. It's way better than any job they've ever had. And, the per app fee, for example, is, for a Medicare Advantage plan, it's going to be $100. For a MedSup, it's going to be $75. For an ancillary policy, it's usually about $50. So, most of these guys and gals, if they're writing 25 core products and 25 ancillary products, their salary, they're bringing home $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. Most of them are very, very satisfied with that. And our business, we're building a empire over here, and there's different models, right? Your model is create financial freedom, become a 6-figure renewal income earner. Some of the people that you bring on, Ryan, they're going to get to 6-figure residual and they're going to stop producing. Mm-hmm. Our LOAs can't stop producing. It's their job. And, over a 20-year career, the amount of money that they can make here and the amount of proper guidance that they get being a part of our organization, financially, they're all going to retire and ride off into the sunset at 50 years old, not having to work anymore and being financially free and not focusing on, their Social Security income. Right. So we're still teaching them the right ways to go in life. We're still teaching them, a lot about how to retire properly. But this idea that everybody should be GA, it's just not true. This mentality in the industry of everybody should be GA, it's really the reason that 92% of insurance agents fail. That's the reason. Like if those 92% were brought into a Bobby Brock Insurance style culture, 92% of them wouldn't fail.
Yep, 100%. And that's a good point to bring it to, because like you said, W-2 have way less responsibility than a 1099 individual agent. right? And W-2, like if you're in the right culture, like you might even make more money than being 1099. Like 1099 is not for everyone. I actually just recently shot a course, like the pros and cons of W-2 versus the pros and cons of 1099. It's one of an initial course that any new partner that joins LC Financial Group is getting assigned to, so they can really see the differences between W-2 and 1099. So really, because a lot of people, it's promulgated in the industry like, oh, like 1099 is the way to go, right? But hey, like you can become a millionaire just being a W-2. Like you don't have to be 1099 to actually become a millionaire or to create financial freedom, like you said. So, that's something that we're moving into within my organization, is really having more of a W-2 structure, the LOA model, right? And having just hiring like 1099 individuals that are more like executives, like actual true executives, actual true leaders, and then they build their W-2 LOA model. And then eventually 5-10 years down the road, we just bring LC Financial Group to the market and just exit for $1 billion, right? Make everyone rich, right? And make everyone wealthy, right? So that's kind of where we're going. But man, it's crazy because everyone thinks they need to be 1099, but then again, they're making less money than they would be making if they were LOA or if they were W-2, because they have so much more responsibility, and sometimes they can't even handle the responsibility that comes with being a 1099. They're almost overwhelmed. Like they don't have the structure, they don't have the discipline. Whereas when you're W-2 and LOA, dude, they have to show up, right? It's their job, like you said.
It's a job.
So it's such a falsity in the industry that like, oh, 1099, full commission.
Yeah, a lot of people can't. You just said it. I mean, a lot of people are getting overwhelmed. I mean, that's really what it is, because I mean, shit. What they're gonna have, they gotta get the leads. They gotta get the systems and processes in place. They got all these things. A lot of them want to get offices. Like, we will hire you in as an LOA, as a W-2, and by the way, they also get their commission check is 1099, but the W-2 is what you're talking about. Is if you're a W-2 employee and you get a 1099 commission check. That's the real way to do it. A lot of these people that we're bringing in, Ryan, they're making $2,000 or $3,000 a month. That our base is 2,000, like 2,400 a month, 2,200 a month, and then they make, on the 15th they get a commission check for the previous month. Like, I'll give you an example, and I would share my screen with you, but I don't know. I got names and stuff on here, but I'm looking at my pipeline, my Bobby Brock Insurance pipeline. See, I did the opposite. I did the opposite a lot of people would do. I went GA to LOA. And the reason I did that is because I'm behind my bro, my big brother. Is, I want to support what he's done. Without him, I'd still be working in factories. You know what I mean? So I look at it as an investment, right? Sure, I'm probably making less money on the commission side than I would have had I, stayed where I was, right, on GA. But now I'm a part of a culture. I've got more leads. I never have to worry about it. I would have had to worry about the lead situation before. I did. I had to do my own investments. And honestly, I think I would have been, just as successful. But I want to build Bobby Brock Insurance up. And then, one of these days I want to build my own thing, after my brother's done. But right now, I'm just looking at what I have at my disposal, right? So I've got 238 leads of people that signed up for the webinar but didn't attend. I've got 135 leads of people that attended the webinar and didn't book appointment. I've got 6 appointments that were automatically booked during the webinar. I've got 1 that was attended and didn't show up, that I need to they attended but didn't finish, and I need to call them. I've got 6 that are pre-webinar, so 9 that are pre-webinar. They're in the pipeline to go to the webinar next Tuesday already. That'll probably be at 50. This is just me, right? This is just Johnny Brock. We got, 15, 20 other agents that are sharing these. Right now, we're putting $62,000 a month into webinar leads. We're putting $30,000 a month in, on the TV ads. We're putting another, $10,000 a month here, another $5,000 here. All that money that they're investing is going back to feeding the agency, the LOA agents, right? Which, people don't have that at their disposal. And if they do, it's not what I've got. These leads are like they're like husband and wife. I'm going to get 7, 8, 9 applications off of one appointment. And they're good applications. Most of them are probably med sup, cancer, heart attack, and stroke, dental, vision, and hearing, prescription drug plan on both of them. You know what I mean? Like these are really high intent leads that are going to make me a good amount of money. And if you're street level and somebody's feeding you, whatever kind of leads they're feeding you, 9 times out of 10, those leads are regurgitated from one agency to the next if they're free. Leads aren't free. And this is something that, Ryan, we've talked about before, and I think that we're going to continue to talk about in the future is in-house marketing. Doing your own marketing is you have to. You've got to get to the point where you're doing your own marketing, because if you're relying on somebody else to market, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be utilizing one certain lead flow. We're so diversified that if one lead flow goes to hell, that's fine. We'll be okay. We'll just pivot and put that money into somewhere else. And then the systems that I was talking about, so the systems that are in place, that we have in place, right, that a lot of people don't have when they're GA, these systems like Go Guru is really what I'm talking about. They actually help you learn. This is actually good for anybody that's in our downline, right? So our downline GA agents that are 1099 only, they're going to have access to the system if they're in our hierarchy. But the way we've built it out and we've made it so easy is we have an agency and we've built Go Guru based off of how that agency is running, right, and operating smoothly. So we can learn where, if we've got, if we're spending money on 5 different lead flows, 1 or 2 months in, we can figure out where we need to take money from and put into, right? So the systems are this, I would say it's the leads and then the systems that are the first and second biggest parts of being an LOA agent. But even if you're not LOA, you can still have good systems and processes, but you're not going to have the support that you need. I'm a big fan of LOA, but I'm not a big fan of LOA underneath some scummy loser who's not going to teach you or give you the attention that you need.
Yep.
Being an LOA under Bobby Brock Insurance is a lot different than being an LOA under the guy that you met at the bar and they gave you an LOA contract and all they did was tie your contracts up for 6 months, right? There's a difference. If somebody's getting paid off of your sales and they didn't give you leads and teach you what you need to know, they didn't deserve that money. They didn't. I don't even think they deserve overrides off of you. So you got to be careful with who you're going to go LOA under. If you're going to do that model that I just mentioned, you should be GA. If you're doing everything on your own, you should be a 1099 only GA general agent.
Yep.
You should be a LOA.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's like everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to be a business owner, but not everyone has what it takes to actually be an entrepreneur or be a business owner. And that stems back to like, man, just join an organization, join a culture like Bobby Brock Insurance, where you get undivided attention, the full support that you need, and you're going to flourish within that culture because of the support, the leadership, and the guidance, right? And you're going to make more money because, man, so many people don't have the bandwidth and the guts and the ability to take the risk and to pour out money without maybe money coming back to them as being an entrepreneur. Many people don't have that ability. And next thing you know, it's 2 years, 3 years down the line, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you're 1099, and you're hardly making any money. Whereas those 2 to 3 years, you could have been an LOA, you could have been a W-2 agent, and you could have been cash flowing all those years without having to put any money on the line, right? Yep. So like really being a business owner, many people don't know the ins and outs of it. It might seem all shiny from the outside looking in, right? Instagram tries to make it look all shiny, Facebook, all these social mediums, but it's really not all that hyped up as it is, right? And there's those individuals that will join an organization that are like intrapreneurs, like they have an entrepreneur mindset and an entrepreneur like ability, but they don't want to take those risks. So being a business owner, like you want to look for those entrepreneurs that you can pull into your business, into your organization, that are super smart. They're very intelligent. They have a high intellectual knowledge, and just bring them into, your organization. So man, it's just, it's just so, like I said earlier, it's just such a falsity of like, oh, 1099, be a business owner, be an entrepreneur. Like, man, just go partner with someone, a big power player like Bobby Brock Insurance or any other insurance organization, maybe LC Financial Group. Go
LC,
partner.
LC or Bobby Brock Insurance. Everybody else is peanuts, man.
Yeah, just go partner with someone that is a power player, learn from them, use their resources, their time, and their leadership, and create wealth from them. Like you don't need to do it yourself, right? And that's the biggest thing is like people are just always trying to do it themselves. I see it all the time.
I don't know. I think that I think there's a lot of different ways. There's no one. There's no, it's not like Medicare beneficiaries. There's no one size fits all, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're looking for. I keep trying to put my logo in the middle of my head, and it's like backwards. But so we look for a certain type of person to bring in. I'm not. Two things. All right. You just said. You just mentioned something about. You know, your people might try to. They don't want to take the risk of spending money and things like that. There's that person, right? But then there's also the person that is trying to do all these different things, right? They're buying houses they can't afford. They're buying businesses they can't afford. They're doing all this stuff, right? There's that person too, who maybe if they had infinite amount of money, they turn a profit one day. But one day you're gonna fall flat on your face if you're spending all this money in all these places. You need to find one vertical and you need to scale it to the moon. And for me and for you, that vertical is insurance, right? And I think that insurance should be the vertical for anybody. Like it could be, if you're not doing anything with your life, either join the military or follow Ryan Loede and Johnny Brock and freaking learn how to sell insurance and create financial freedom for yourself so that you're not struggling every day. Because there's so much money out there. There's a transformation of wealth right now that is it's crazy how much money is out there. And it's only going to become more and more and more money because all the baby boomers are about to die. There's so much transformation of wealth right now that it's freaking nuts. So that just means that there's more money out there for us to get. And, you know, I don't look, you know, what's going to make me the most money? What's going to make me the most money? I personally look at value, you know, just like I said last week. Like I'm trying to figure out if it's a Medicare beneficiary, if it's a peer, if it's, you know, somebody under 65, somebody that I'm bringing on as an employee. How can I provide you the most value? Because I believe that the universe is going to give that back to me. But for me, it's God. For some, it's whatever, right? I believe that God and the universe are the same. I believe they're one and the same, right? That's just what I believe. But I believe that if you serve, it will be given back to you. If you give, it will be given back to you. So like, and also taking, you know, the importance of taking advantage of opportunities. Like when somebody puts an opportunity in front of you, if you're not, you should be you seen that movie Yes Man? I don't know if you have, with
No.
Jim Carrey, where he said he goes to this seminar and he has to say yes to everything. Well, as soon as he starts saying yes to everything, Ryan, he's like power jumping, or he's like you know, skydiving, and he's doing all this crazy shit. But his life got way better. Before he went to the seminar, he was a loser, you know, and his life sucked and he hated his life. He never went out, right? His friends were dumping him because he was just not fun at all. You know, he sucked. And then he went to this seminar and he became where he was saying yes to everything. And in life, you should absolutely say yes to more things. And one of those big things is, you know, when somebody puts an opportunity in front of you for you to grab, and it could be that you've never seen Ryan or Johnny Brock before, and you're seeing this reel right now, or you're seeing this video or this live, and you say, why are they in front of me right now? I'm sitting here scrolling on my phone at 3:30 on a Tuesday, and I see these guys, and I'm not doing anything with my life. That something that simple could, you know, a decision like that could change your life. It could change your family's life for the rest of history. You know, like if you get involved with the right thing at the right time and make the decision to move forward with something, that could be literally the difference maker between your grandchildren being financially free and being poor and broke. I just went off on a rant there, but it felt necessary.
Man, we're getting questions from Mr. Joe Camp. What are you drinking, Johnny? What are you drinking, man?
This
What you
is
got?
this is Mass Gainer. That's
There we
I'm a
go.
small guy. If I don't drink Mass Gainer, I stay at like 130. So
There we go.
trying to get. I got up to 150 and then I stopped drinking my Mass Gainer and I got back down to like 135, 137. I just don't gain weight. I don't keep weight on. So I gotta consistently drink. You know what it is? It's the calorie overload, carb overload. Protein shakes don't do a lot for me. I gotta have carbs and calories, man. So that's what I'm drinking, Joe Pro.
I mean,
That's
like Joe Camp, yeah. But
oh, yeah.
like you said, man, it's like the industry that we're in. It's the opportunity is unlimited, and man, there's just so much opportunity out here that everyone can have it. There's no shortage of anything. And
So I was gonna say a perfect example is Barry Hood. He's on the comment section right now. But
yeah,
Barry's been working with us for I don't know a year now, maybe not even, but I can't remember. He was with somebody in Florida, and he's knocking it out of the park, man. I mean, he's right now he's selling Medicare con tickets for us, and just reaching out to agents that haven't pulled the trigger yet. But he's loving what he does, right? He's a part of a culture, even though he's working remote. He's the only LOA agent that we have working remote out of Florida, and he's doing a phenomenal job. It's hard for us to find a remote agent, the LOA remote agent. It's just difficult. He's the only W-2 that you're referring to that doesn't work in office with us. Everybody else is in office, and he's doing a great job. And so shout out to him. But I mean, it's just a proven thing. I want to say that he's been in the business for quite some time, but Barry is now finally found a system and a culture that he's proud to be a part of and happy to be a part of. And you can catch him in the comments section. He'll back up what I'm saying, but I didn't mean to.
Yeah, he's a big contributor. He said in his comment, it's okay to learn and help build a business. Absolutely.
That's right. That's right. So that's perfect for what I'm saying. Yep. It's there are so many people out there, Ryan, who get this idea that they've got to be the they gotta blow up and be the best of the best and make all this money and be the front of the business. And it's okay to help build a business that somebody else created. And in fact, some would say that it's the best way to be, right? I mean, I personally, literally could have just went in my own direction and, Johnny Brock Insurance. And trust me, guys, I would have done a phenomenal job at it. But why? I wanted to help my brother create what he's already on the path to create. So I believe that in turn, that's going to the amount of stuff that I've learned being under his wing and being where I needed to be under the right organization, helping him grow and build this business. I believe that it'll come back to me tenfold. And, had I just said, oh, I want to be the front of it all, I want to be the face of it all, selfish Johnny, I think that eventually I might have made more money now off commissions and whatnot, but the amount of knowledge that I would have lacked, I think would have. What I'm getting at is what I'm going to gain from being LOA and where I'm at right now, learning how to build a business. When I actually get to the point where I can build my own business after Justin's done with this stuff, then there we go. Johnny Brock has learned a lot more, and he's in a much better spot. And I think I'll get my ROI, is what I'm saying.
Yep. And like I mentioned earlier, like it's trying to do it all yourself. It's going to take so much longer than just piggybacking off of another successful person or another successful business owner or an agency owner. Like, why not just partner with them, be under their wing, and speed up the process of whatever you're looking to do. And man, I wanted to touch on this as well. Man, I'm a big believer in the office culture. I know obviously you guys are. Like you said, you only have one remote W-2 agent, whereas everyone else is local in Tupelo, Mississippi. And that's something I'm really big on as well, because I've seen within our organization, like our top producers, they're in an office, they're coming to an office every single day. They're showing up, they're committed. And those are the ones that are outperforming anyone else that's remote. Like remote jobs, man, I think it's a dead end. Like, man, it's so tough to find like a remote agent that actually is going to be a high producer because man, many people don't have that consistency and discipline to really just like stay focused. When you're at your house, you're comfortable, you're able to do what you want. But when you go to the work office environment, like you're locked in, you're focused, you're intentional with what you're doing. So, man, I'm a big believer in the offices. That's what we're kind of growing out here at LC Financial Group is, offices in all 50 states. We currently have 2 in Ohio. Miami's coming by February. We have an office in Clearwater, in Dallas, and then we have San Francisco and Charlotte and Tampa coming by Q2. Man, so what are your? I mean, that kind of ties into culture, right? Because in order to really cultivate people, you have to have the culture, right? And like, how do you? It can be done building a culture remotely, but it's so much easier and so much better to just build the culture with like an in-house team or like an office culture, right? So, and I've seen you guys do such a great job at it. Like, and you have lower turnover rate with people that you bring in. Like, you have a higher retention of people that you bring in because, man, it starts to create that family atmosphere and that family like bond. And you guys have that type of, camaraderie between each other, right? And you guys
Yep.
are holding each other accountable. You're going to the office every single day. So that's why I love the offices. I don't care how much I have to pay for the office. I know people that show up to the office are always going to outperform people that are remote. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I can't pinpoint exactly what it is. It's kind of unraveled this way, right? So it was Justin Brock. He hired Steven Martinez, who was actually a friend of ours when we were a kid growing up. But and then Kelly and Mallory came in, and then it kind of unraveled from there. I mean, I came on. We had some other people come on, some that are with us still, some that aren't. But really, once you get to 5 or 6 in an office, those 5 or 6 should really, especially when you're trying to grow, right? Especially if you have plenty of room and you're trying to grow. But those 5 or 6, when I look at it, everybody that's in the organization now came from somebody else that is in the organization or used to be in the organization. So like, for example, Jackson Taylor, if it wasn't for Jackson Taylor, we wouldn't have John P. and Matt Smith. And if it wasn't for, let's just say Justin Stark, we wouldn't have Jared Sparks, his brother. If it wasn't for me, we wouldn't have Dustin. We wouldn't have Michael. If it wasn't for Sarah, we wouldn't have our brother Cade. If it wasn't for, you see what I'm saying? Like it just kind of, we bring in friends that see what we're doing and they want to join in. And ultimately, I think that when you show people, when the people a part of the team show people the success and the camaraderie and the culture and how happy they are there, right? Then other people want to join in. That's the biggest thing. And I'll say this, man, we're not by any means a stick in the mud office. One thing that I would say would be a big takeaway for you, Ryan, as you grow these offices, is there needs to be a couple of people that are in control and have more of a management level position. But also those people should not be a stick in the mud. Those people should be fun to be around. Mm-hmm. And they should be, they should be feared, but they should also be, hey, you want to grab a beer after work tonight? Like there's no reason. You want them to have fun. And I think the biggest way to do that, Ryan, is as you're growing your offices across the country, the biggest way to do that and the best way to do it is to, when you're hiring these people, give them the proper expectations. Don't let them come in thinking, this is me personally. As you grow your offices in San Francisco and Charlotte and Cleveland, wherever, these people should come in with the proper expectation that they can make this amount of money, but it's okay if they don't. We just want them to come and show up. If they don't show up, then they're going to be gone. They're gone. They're going to get fired, right? When they show up to work, they do their job. They don't hold somebody else back from doing their job. Just find every couple of hours, if you come in our office and spend a day in a regular work day, most of the time people are on the phones talking. Every couple of hours, you might get up and walk around and see that there's a couple people hanging out and rejuvenating. There's nothing wrong with that. This idea that everybody's got to have a stick up their ass is just not true, right? It's not true. And that's the biggest thing for what we've built is people want to work here because it's work, but it also is an escape, man. It's an escape. People are coming here, and some people have lives. Their life outside of here is more stressful than it is here. If your work life is more stressful than your home life, and vice, it should be balanced. The real balance, people talk about work-life balance. The real balance is that one should not be more stressful than the other. That's the real balance out there, if you ask me. So, I don't think that, I think the biggest thing when building a culture is setting the right expectations. If people come in, you hire Matt, right? You hire Matt. Matt comes in. Matt writes 25, 30 applications a month. He sits there all day. He answers phones. He calls leads. Writes 25, 30 applications a month. He's happy doing that. And then you got, Joe over here. Joe's writing 50, 60 applications a month. They're not butting heads. Matt's happy that Joe's writing more than him, and Joe's happy that Matt's happy that he's not he doesn't need to write so much business, right? Not everybody's going to be, a shark. Everybody's not going to be that, and leave the well size action up to Ryan Loede, right? Leave the well size action up to Justin Brock. I don't even. This isn't my business, but I care about it as if it is my business, right? But I still would not come in here and ruin the atmosphere and ruin the vibe that we have going on, right? Yeah. It's a genuinely fun place to work. We work, we get our job done, we focus on the beneficiary first, and then after that, and we have hiccups, right? We have hiccups. It happens, people quit and people get fired, and it's just like any other business. But setting the expectation is the biggest thing. That's the main thing, brother.
Yeah, culture, man. Culture, just being a place where people actually enjoy working. That's my biggest takeaway from what you're saying. Having an office environment where people actually want to come to the office, they have fun at the office, they actually enjoy being at the office. Like, man, they might even enjoy being at the office working more than being away from the office, right? You want to create a culture like that where people are actually like enthused to actually come to work. They're happy to come to work. They're happy to show up every single day, and they're happy to take action. They love being at work, right? So creating a culture like that, and most importantly, like making sure that those people that you're bringing into the culture, they fit the shape of the culture, right? Like you said, you're constantly hiring, constantly firing, right? Getting rid of the weeds, getting rid of those leeches in the culture or in the company. The people that are, man, they're just negative, they're suppressive. You need to get rid of those people as soon as possible, especially if you're building like an office culture, because, man, that one person, as we all know, can bring down the entire ship. That one person can be spreading doubt and negativity to another person in the office, and then boom, it's just a revolving circle of just doubt and negativity being spread around. So making a culture that is enjoyable to be in, having the right people there. And ultimately, like, man, like you said, Johnny, is like bringing in people that you already know. Like, you're like, hey, if I weren't here, these three people wouldn't be here. If Justin weren't there at the office, those three people wouldn't be there, right? And bringing in people that like already know you and they respect you at a high level, because sometimes, you try to hire these people and they just don't have respect, right? They don't have respect. They don't value who you are, what you're doing, and what you're building. So, man, it's very important to bring in the right people and be okay with letting people go. Be okay with saying no to some potential prospects or potential recruits or potential agents. Like, be okay with saying no, because not everyone's going to fit the culture that you're building, right? So, man, I love what you guys are doing over there at Bobby Brock Insurance. And, man, I appreciate you jumping on today. We're going to come to the viewers and the listeners next week, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And, man, appreciate you, Johnny. Hope you have a good rest of the day.
Hey, man, I'll end on this. What you just said is very, very true. we've had people, my brother is a really good person. You know what I mean? He's a good dude. And sometimes it's to a fault, right? We've held
Sometimes
on to
it
people.
leads you in the back. Yeah.
It does. And he actually posted about it. And I was trying to find it so I could read it, but he posted about it a couple of days ago about how, he has let certain employees stay here too long and stay because he wanted to see them work out, right? He liked them as people and he wanted to see them work out. And eventually we had to let them go, right? But he actually apologized mostly to agents. It's usually the agent side, the agent support side, right? Where he'll leave somebody on for too long, and then an agent that's using our software system or university or whatever, they actually are kind of like, okay, I used Go Guru, but I didn't have a great experience. Well, they didn't have a great experience maybe because they used the employee that Justin was trying to leave here for too long, right? So it's we're sometimes you can be. So what Ryan's saying is he really, this is kind of an overly used term, but hire fast, fire fast. But it's not a bad term to use. It's really not. I think that you should do that. I think that you should hire at a pretty quick level, and you should fire at probably a quicker level, a quicker rate, because I mean, at the end of the day, you can hold on to them to a fault, man. You can leave them in, and they'll be before you know it, you'll look back and be like, you should. I had to let a guy go, and he's like, what, trying to argue with me, and I'm like, dude, like, I'm honestly surprised that Justin didn't let you go a long time ago. I mean, there's certain levels to this, right? And when I earlier I mentioned that you might have a guy over here that's okay with doing 25 applications and a guy over here that's doing 60. Well, since 60 is possible, should we hold this guy over here that's doing 25 to a higher level, or should we just say, look, not everybody wants to take over the world. Not everybody wants to do that. But if somebody's writing 5 applications a month, then they're not a good fit for it. And if they're not a good fit for, maybe you can make them an administrative person, right? There's other things to do within the organization. So Ryan, I will say this, right? One more thing about that. I've just seen this so many times. We have had people in one position that didn't work out and moved them to another, and it did work out. So always remember that, like, as you grow these offices, you can hire somebody as an agent. They don't work out. Sales is not their thing. You don't just kick them in the rear and tell them good luck. What if you move them to a position where they're making outbound calls and setting appointments? They don't have to worry about the sale, right? Try them on that, and then see if they start setting a bunch of appointments, right? You give them, maybe you can and you can encourage them by giving them a bonus if they set a certain amount of appointments, right? Or an administrative role where they're calling clients, giving a personal touch to current active clients, making sure that they're satisfied and okay with everything, right? Calling people turning 65 to send them a Ryan Loede Medicare breakdown book, right? There's a lot that these people can do. So that's a huge point, really. When you think about it, people want to hire fast, fire fast. Try hire fast and moving people to their people have certain skill sets. Everybody's got a certain skill set. And if your only skill set is to sell, then you can't run a business. You can't build a business on that. Like, we've got a service team, we've got 30 employees, only like 12, 13, or 14 of them are agents. We have more people in other roles, contracting, creative department, this agent support team. You should have a team, Ryan, that supports all your agents. Shouldn't just be you, right? You should have a CRM for those people. If you don't, you should use Go Guru. That's perfectly fine. And then utilize the support, create the manpower to support those agents in that downline, right? So that's what I'm getting at. Not everybody is here to sell, right? Not everybody can sell. Everybody's got their own skill set. So when you're growing a business, and especially a culture, and you hire somebody in for a certain role, try them in a different role if they don't work out in that role.
So, man, that's an excellent point and a great way to lead this off. And that's why you got to have multiple positions that you're hiring. Like, always be hiring for all positions. I know, like, you always have a position or a role to be filled within your organization. And man, that's a good point, because some people, man, they might apply for, being a Medicare sales representative, but man, they can't make the sale. They can't actually, do the sale. Whereas like they're really good at customer service. Maybe move them over to a service individual or customer service that follows up with sold customers, or maybe customers that, are on the book of business, to maybe upgrade them to a second ancillary product, whatever it might be. Right. So always just have those open availability options. And like, because you want the most important thing when you are firing fast, we're hiring fast and firing fast even quicker than we're hiring, right? We're firing even quicker. When you do fire or let people go, you want people to be let go and like in a good realm. You don't want them to put out bad PR about your organization, your business when you fire them. You want them to have a good sense of like, okay, like they're actually good people. It just wasn't a good fit for me. Right.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, me and you could go on and on about this, bro, because I'm gonna tell you right now, bro, it does not matter. You fire somebody, they're gonna put bad PR out about you. It's just the way it goes, man. It doesn't matter if we gave them, because we've been nice and kept multiple people on for literally months and months past when they should have been on, and they still think that they're entitled to a position. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you right now, when people talk bad about an organization that let them go, the people that they're talking to 99 times out of 100 know that they're full of shit. They do. They know they're full of shit. Because if you're talking bad about a company that fired you, why are you in this position and they're not in that position? It's anybody with a brain knows that if you're saying Bobby Brock Insurance is a bunch of assholes because they fired me, they know that you're the one that really has the issues. And Bobby Brock Insurance, who's got 35 employees and 40,000 clients, we're not the ones with the problems. You didn't work out for a reason. There's people here that have been here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and you can't make it. And it's our fault. It's not our fault. You have an entitlement problem, and you never took action and figured out what to do for the company to make yourself irreplaceable.
Yep. Man, I love it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for jumping on, Johnny. Look forward to seeing you next week, brother.
You too, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.